This is our modern day, too fast, too furious Skyline. And today we're going to be converting it from a rear-wheel drive GTT to an all-wheel drive GTR. And these parts right here are everything we need to figure it out. Starting up front, we have a brand new R34 GTR front subframe. This differs completely from the GTT. The GTR was a single unit, where this is a much bigger subframe than what we took out. And the reason is the front suspension of a GTR is completely different than what came off of the GTT. And over here, we have an RB26 block out of one of my previous projects. Now we're just using this as a dummy block with a motor mount set to get the engine in its location so that we make sure we have clearances for everything. And these parts right here are arguably the most critical. This is our oil pan with front differential, cross member, and transmission mount. Now the GTT chassis does not even have provisions to mount this stuff underneath the car, so we'll be creating all of that in today's episode. And here we have a 5-speed manual gearbox out of an R32 GTR. Now you're probably saying, that's not a Getrag 6-speed, which these cars came with in the GTR format, and that's okay because we're not running a stock transmission in this car anyway. We're simply using this transmission and this transfer case to locate everything and make sure that we have the pocket in the floor pan to accept this transfer case, because right now, the GTT floor pan does not have room for it. And the last part we have here is a brand new rear subframe. We're gonna change this out because this car is gonna be making a ton of horsepower and we wanna make sure everything's fresh and new. So while we've got the rest of this going on, we might as well mount a brand new rear subframe with all new arms as well. Now mind you guys, all this stuff is here just for placement purposes. We are gonna be replacing the majority of these items with race parts. All right, the car's in the air. We gotta get this old shit off so we can put the new Nissan subframe in. It's quite different and it's gonna require a lot of fab work, so buckle up and hang on. I think from my research, the front holes may line up, so that can allow us to locate it, and we're just gonna be measuring, making sure she's square and making some provisions to mount it in the car. So I found a piece of rod that we keep here in stock, and essentially that's gonna hug the bolt really tightly as it passes through this frame rail. And the reason we're doing this, we're gonna weld a section of this in that goes all the way through the top and the bottom. And what that's gonna do is gonna allow us to put a nut on the bottom of this bolt and crank it down and not misalign or misform this frame rail. In other words, squeeze it too tight. So this will help, and we'll get that welded in here shortly. All right, we got our subframe mounted in the front. We're gonna go ahead and get started with cutting our relief pockets out of these frame rails for the all-wheel drive axles that have to pass through here. A GTT was rear-wheel drive and didn't have to worry about that, so that's why these frame rails are flat. But we're gonna cut it out, plate it, and make it strong again. So I made a little template that locks into place here. So it sits underneath that bracket, next to this bracket, and right in front of that bracket, so that Evan can trace a line on the back here for me. I can cut it out and I can take it to the other side, flip it, and I know how to index it with the other side. It'll line up perfectly, and we'll have an identical cutout from side to side. That looks like an axle pass through right there, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Both frame rails are cut and notched for our axles. The next step is to actually make plates that are gonna weld in there and refortify that frame rail with our axle pass-throughs. So we're gonna get some metal out and we're gonna start cutting. Now we can actually put the subframe back in the car, put some temporary bolts in until we get our subframe spacers in. Subframes in, and now we're gonna move on to the next focus point, which is getting this bracket out of the car. In an all-wheel drive car, this bracket does not exist. It's not needed. This is our old transmission mount. This is the footprint where our transfer case sits, which sends the axle and the power to the front wheels. A GTR floor pan would have already had this pocket built into it or stamped into it, but we have to create it ourselves. So a little bit of fabrication and it'll be done. Now that that's done, we can actually put our donor engine into the car on top of the subframe. Woo! And then at that point, we can actually throw the transmission on the back with the transfer case and figure out where we need to punch the hole through the floor pan. We know it's in this vicinity. We're gonna find out what we're gonna cut out. Once we know what we're gonna cut out, we'll go ahead and clean this up around here and make it nice. All right, as you guys saw, the hole in the floor pan for the transfer case, that needs to be addressed. So I used some cardboard and created a template that's gonna cover the hole that we cut out. I grabbed a piece of sheet metal that is a similar gauge to the floor pan, and I went ahead and started rough bending it up already and got it somewhat close. This is basically how it's gonna go. As you can see, I've got to do some fitting here across the top, but I've rolled it nice and it's going to cover up the transfer case really well. And then we'll just build two end caps to close it off, and that will allow us to actually slide this transmission in and out of the car with plenty of room that we're not struggling. So on the GTRs, they have a big cutout. This is pretty big compared to what I've seen others do. So let's get this tacked in. I can start shaping this top edge to the tunnel and we should be good to go. All right, well, on this table, we have some amazing products from the boys over at Radium. What we have here is a 6-gallon tank. This is the smallest cell from them we've ever installed, and that's because we're building a drag car. We don't need a ton of fuel. We're not taking any road trips. Nope. So we went with a really basic setup for this car because we want to keep it simple. Speaking of keeping it simple, let's get this thing in the car.
Let's get it out. Here's the plan. We're gonna remove the old fuel tank, cut the trunk floor pan, build the frame, and weld everything to seal from the elements. Okay, so look at the floor. I marked it. It's kind of. So that's pretty much where my first cut's gonna be. And then from there, we'll gradually go up and make it nice and straight. But yeah, let's first things first, let's just cut the floor plan out.
You're gonna need that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What's that?
More blades, because I don't think one's gonna do it. This one's all jacked up too, look at that. No biggie, we're gonna use it. Okay, look at this. This is all macked up. It's not even tack welded yet. So I have the 4 points made exactly where they need to be. Everything is nice and level. So I'm gonna tack weld each corner. Well, I'm gonna tack weld these 2 corners and then triple check this corner. And if it's all legit and straight, we'll tack weld these other 2 corners. Then we'll be able to remove all the clamps out of the way and carry on. Look at that thing.
Put this back in the box. It doesn't need to go to the paint shop, so we don't want to get it scratched.
Look how easy this is. Drop in. Bam. Jeez. Sick, baby!
That what's cool is the radium straps go over top, and then there's 2 radium straps that go underneath.
At the bottom. It's super secure, super safe.
It's not going anywhere. And what's nice is they already have everything here. So we just run wiring and just plumb.
Be down.
Next up on the R34, we're gonna start assembling the new rear end. We've got a ton of really cool parts on this thing, starting with a GTR rear subframe. We've got GK Tech polyurethane subframe bushings, really gonna stabilize everything. We've got a Nismo Hikis eliminator kit, as well as a new Nismo lower control arm and new wheel bearings and hubs as well, which is really nice. All this stuff was provided by Nissan Motorsport, which is insane. And we've got GK Tech upper arms and camber arms. So these are heimed. This is gonna add a lot of stability to the rear end of this car. I've got the old spindle completely stripped out. We've got GK Tech bushings going in it. And for paint, we're actually gonna be putting the old wheel bearing in, not the nice new Nismo stuff, because I don't want the new stuff to get thrashed. When you don't have an axle on it and you're rolling it around, you risk damaging the wheel bearing. So we've got a lot of work to do to get this back in the car. Let's get started. Subframe bushings are done. Time to move on to spindle bushings. Baby, we're not using the hammer this time. We're gonna use the vise, I think. See how well it goes. Alright, Nismo lower control arms are going on next. Next up, we've got camber arms and upper control arms, both by GK Tech. Let's get them in, baby. The final control arm setup is our Nismo Hikis eliminator kit. Let's get it on. Now we're gonna move into the front suspension system, but before we start throwing on our new GK Tech arms and Nismo arms, we actually have to assemble the hubs. So these are new knuckles. Everything you see here is from Nissan Motorsport, which is awesome. So we do have to press the wheel bearings in those. I've got snap rings gonna go in. We're gonna press the wheel bearing in the front, get the other snap ring in, get grease seals on this thing, and then press in our new front hub. And then we'll pretty much just have that with a wheel bearing in it. And then we can put ball joints on and then get this thing ready to go in the car. So we gotta go jump on the press. Let's do it. Yes, dude. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Unfortunately, we're missing one critical piece for the front suspension, so we're not gonna be able to get this thing back on its wheels on its own suspension. So we've got a chassis dolly we're gonna install, and we can get this thing off the rack. Chassis dolly is officially installed on the R34. We got it all lined up under the car. It's off the rack, as you guys can see here.
Now it's time to upgrade our R34 with all new exterior parts before it goes off to paint. Like the movie car, we have a C West N1 version 1 front bumper. And we also have a carbon fiber vented hood from Sabon, as well as 10mm wider front carbon fiber fenders that are also vented. The GTR rear quarter panels and also the quarter glass. We could have used fiberglass, but we wanted to keep this thing as original as possible and make it as nice as we could. Having original steel is the way to go. And out back, we have a Sabon carbon fiber trunk that's gonna help it look sharp and also shed some weight. Now it's time for me to grab Quinn and Ricky, and we're gonna get these parts on the car because we gotta get this car to SOS Customs. One thing we forgot to introduce was our kabuki mirrors. So we got a pair of aero mirrors that are similar to a Ganador style mirror. We're gonna take these off and swap those on before it goes to paint.
Whoa, damn! These things are sick!
Oh, is that aluminum?
Bro, it is.
Is this aluminum?
It's
no
heavy
way.
Too. It's heavy too.
That's gangsters.
I really like this.
All right, let's get them on. You're good. Keep going. Go. LC Tow is loading up the Skyline. Almost about ready to head off the SOS, and we're kind of up in the air if we want to actually run a wing on this car or not. What do you think, Ricky?
I think a drag wing will look cool to have the, you know, the duckbill that stick all the way past the tail lights, you know, the drag style, since that's like our theme, right? We're doing a drag style 34, so I think that would be proper for this build. But
so here's the thing, the last two Fast and Furious cars we did our own modern interpretation, which included modern wings, modern body kits, kind of all of that stuff. So the fact that we're not doing a crazy wide body on this, where it's really deciding what wing we should put on it, or if we should even put a wing on it at all. I want to do like a huge APR style wing like we've done with the Eclipse and the Supra, but that's just my style. I like the Sea West wing that was on the two Fast and Furious car. I loved how that looked. I think we should do a modern version of that. Mickey wants to do kind of like an OEM style GTR wing.
I actually want to do an Urus drag wing. It's a fiberglass drag wing that hangs off straight off the back. The problem is it's a 12-week wait from Japan.
So that's kind of where we're all at. Everyone's still kind of up in the air on what we want to do with the car, but it's going to SOS right now. It's going to get an insane paint job. Everything's going to be dialed in, and I cannot wait to get this car back so we can actually start cranking on this thing, getting it done, putting it together, getting it on its wheels and rolling, because this thing is going to be insane to drive. We're going to do a lot of testing, a lot of development with the car, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really hoping that we can bring all of the team together for this one, because we've learned so much from racing the Supra, racing the Viper, all the drag racing we've done. I think it's all going to cultivate into a really cool, really well-rounded project with this car. This car is going to be the highest power car that has ever come out of the throttle shop ever. It's going to be absolutely insane, and I cannot wait for it. Right now, we're getting the car strapped down, and then this thing's gonna be gone, baby. So that's gonna be it for today's episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya. There it is, she gone. See you later.
And if you guys have made it this far in the video, you guys are real legends. And I want to say thank you, because in the last episode, we announced we're going to be giving away 4 of these. We have 4 lean custom pins with our Eclipse on them. And the 4 winners of that contest are on the screen right now. So if your name is right here, please shoot me an email to evan@throtl.com and include a screenshot of your YouTube username. That way I know it's you, and we'll ship these things out anywhere in the world. And last but not least, I did want to say we're going to be dropping some limited edition R34 Skyline merchandise. I'm gonna pop them up on the screen right here so you guys can check them out. And this drop is gonna be coming really, really soon. So if that's something you're interested in, I'd love for you guys to pick up a shirt and support. So that's it for me. We'll see you guys in the next one.